Evening, everybody. Tonight we have Miss Claudette Roberts with us. I'm sure you guys have seen the post. Those that haven't, we're going to talk about her daughter Kendall. Claudette had twins, and Kendall was one of them. And Kendall was currently 26. So we're going to just sit back, strap up, learn about Kendall tonight. So we're going to have an educational session because that's what advocacy is about, educating our community, educating everyone on the various disabilities. So, with that being said, Claudette, take the floor. Our community, educating everyone on the various disabilities.
Welcome, Claudette.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about the mishap. Sorry about the mishap. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and my family. It's just me, though, tonight to your podcast. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can hear you, Claudette. So tell
Oh,
us something about yourself.
well, I'm going to share a little bit about uh, my family. Um, and well, not a little bit about my family. I'm going to share a little bit about Kendall's story and my family's journey. Okay. And I did jot down a couple of things. Just feel free to, interrupt me if you have any questions. Um, Kendall's not here with me at the moment because she gets a little overstimulated at times.
Okay.
And she may try to take over the show tonight if she were in here. But I may bring her in a little bit later,
Okay.
so everybody
Good.
can see her. If you've been to my Facebook page, you've seen her
Okay.
in some of her videos, probably. I'm just going to give a overview of some of uh, Kendall's background of where she started and where she is today. Okay. Kendall was born in 1997 at 20 weeks gestational age. She weighed 1 pound and 2 ounces at birth. And Kendall is a twin to a baby boy who is also 26 years old now. He was born 8 days later, but we're not talking about him tonight. Yes, they're called miracle twins.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
Kendall is considered baby girl A.
Okay.
If you know anything about the twin terms, whichever ones comes first versus last. Um, Kendall was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, or CP, as some of you may know it to be known. She was diagnosed with retinopathy, which is damage to blood cell vessels in the back of the eyes. She was diagnosed with strabismus. Excuse me if I don't pronounce some of this terminology the way it's supposed to be pronounced because it's been so long. It's been 26 years since she was diagnosed with some of these things. Strabismus estropia,
Mhm.
which means your eyes are crossed, or uncoordinated eye muscles. She has had her eyes corrected. She had eye surgery at about, she was about a year and a half. So her eyes are no longer crossed. She had a grade 4 hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the brain, which created hydrocephalus, which is a fluid buildup in the brain.
Mm.
Her brain, her she had a lot of swelling as a baby. I'll say for her first 2 years of life, tons and tons of swelling. Her head would expand and go down, expand and go down. She had a VP shunt, which is a tube placed in her brain. Um, Day 5 of birth, they put the VP shunt in.
Wow.
She still has the shunt in place to this date. Um, at 15, she had a shunt malfunction where the tubing became dislodged, and we had to take her in for emergency surgery. So the revision, the shunt revision that she had at the age of 15, and she's 26 now, and that one is still intact.
Okay.
So there has been no blockages or dislodging of that tubing since 15.
That's a blessing
So
within itself, right there, because a lot of people that have a shunt have had maybe like double digit surgery. So that's a blessing within
I've heard
itself.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard, I was also informed by medical staff that where the placement of her shunt reservoir is in a place that they usually don't put it in.
Mm.
Um, yes, and then they told me that most people have multiple, um, like several blockages or shunt displacement or malfunctions by the age of 15. And the
Wow.
only one she's had was at age 15.
Wow.
So there again, walking miracle.
Yes.
Um,
Can you elaborate on that? When you say that where the shunt is, it's unusual. Where is that location in the brain, and why is it unusual?
I was just told that. I'm not sure if where the other spots in the area that they would place it is the most current spots, but they did tell me that where hers is behind, hers is here, more to the left side, and no, right side, sorry. And it goes down, the tubing goes down behind her ear from the port is here, the reservoir is here, which is like a metal tubing that they put in the ventricle itself. And then they attach the tubing, which then goes behind the ear, along the neck, down through the body, and it just releases. It releases your cerebrum fluid, and
Mm-hmm.
ours does it naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Hers was not, which is why they had to put the tubing in at day 5.
And it's funny because let me ask you this. Because Morgan does have hydrocephalus, and actually, you're the third person that we've had on the show that has a child with hydrocephalus.
Hmm.
And I believe that more the ventricles at the top is 2 and 3. And I believe that goes into the back of the head. So I think if I'm not saying that it's a great thing to have hydrocephalus, but what I've been told is if you have it, that's a great place to have it because it's not as bad as having it in the back of the brain.
They
So
they said where
I mean
hers
that's
was yeah, that's what they told me. Well, they said that hers was in an
mhm.
area that they usually don't put the placement. That's not where
Mm,
they you her port is like here. It's not in the back. Hers
wow.
is on the side, and you can feel the tubing once it gets here behind her ear, and you
Wow.
you could feel it and see it, and it's always protruded, and then it just disappears along the neck, and once it goes through the neckline, you don't see it anymore.
Hmm.
It's on the inside of her body.
Now, where does the fluid
um
drain? Does it drain in her abdominal area?
I was told that it just dissipates out of her
Okay.
body.
Okay.
I don't think we urinate cerebrum fluid.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I don't remember, like I said, this was so long ago. I don't remember where it releases and dissipates. I don't think that it is a drainage that it's not like a blood flow. It's from my
Hmm.
comprehension.
Okay.
Um, it's not like a blood flow. It just releases.
Because we've had
I'm being
several
honest.
people
I
on.
really don't know. I know you don't urinate it out.
Yeah. But several people, I think it flows into the bloodstream because I don't know if you all remember Bunny and Crystal. I think we've had three people on here, and most of the drainage is somewhere different each time. So I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
determines where the fluid drains into, but I think it's absorbed in the bloodstream. I could be
like many
wrong.
things are.
Okay,
Like
so
many.
Sharon Martin said it does. So I think it goes into
She
the
would know.
bloodstream. Yeah.
She would know. She's a nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah. She
it's
would know.
funny because each person's that has had a shunt, it's of course it's placed in different places, and
Right.
it is the drainage is in a different place. So I find that to be very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious to know how do they determine where it is draining, where because I think one person said it goes into their heart or something. It did something in it was
Hmm.
something. Don't quote me, but I think one person said the abdominal, but I think it's
Right.
different each
I was just
person.
about
I
to say the
I was
abdominal.
thinking the
Yeah.
abdominal
Yeah.
area and then get
Okay.
absorbed some type of way. That was my thought
Okay.
process too.
Okay.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
definitely didn't think it was the blood line. I'm just being honest. I thought it was
No, the
absorbed.
bloodstream. I think it goes
Yeah.
into like the fluids. But don't give me the line. But go ahead. I like to really explore that hydrocephalus, because I think that's a condition which we didn't know until we had someone else on, that it doesn't always start with hydrocephalus, but other conditions kind of bring on the
The
hydrocephalus.
hydrocephalus. Correct.
Exactly. And you're saying the same
Correct.
thing. So I'm learning that. I didn't know that.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm still learning things as I go as well, and my memory of terminology for these things have dissipated over the years because her condition shifted with
Mm-hmm.
several things over the last 26 years. This is
Mm-hmm.
not one of them, though.
Okay.
Um, she's had the VP shunt for a long time, and I don't know if you know this. There are different types of shunts.
Yes.
There,
We learned
okay,
that. We learned that on here. We
yeah,
need to
there are
give a
different.
quiz. I think we need to do a test.
Don't test me.
No, I'm
Don't
talking
test
about
me
with
either.
Bunny. You were sitting right here listening. No, we've had it's been very interesting because we've had several
Mhm.
people on here with I'm sorry, I have a co-host tonight. So, I have to, this is the job of a parent of a special needs
That's
individual.
right.
But yeah, so
Absolutely.
go ahead,
It's real
Claudette. But
life.
I'm
It's
yeah,
real life.
it
It is
is.
It
real life.
is.
That's
Mhm.
I
She
love it.
refuses
It's
to
real life.
go in her room. I'm flying solo and she wants to be right here with me. So, but I
Well,
think
she wants
she's
to be a part of the show. So,
Right.
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's
So
let's keep moving.
all right. So let's go back to this. So I went through the strabismus.
Mhm.
I went through the hydrocephalus, the CP, the retinopathy. Um, I talked about the swelling of the cavities in the brain, which is the reason why she got the VP shunt tube placed. Um, and we're moving on to a different developmental phase for her. So by age 1, she developed seizure disorder
Wow.
um, from febrile seizures. She started having febrile seizures. Um, Her temperature would just out of the blue go to like 104 in like minutes, and the next thing we would know, she would be just seizing.
Wow.
Um, it happened over and over again. They just diagnosed her with seizure disorder, put her on medication. She did not have grand mal seizures. She had seizure disorder from fevers, high fevers, probably until about the age of 6.
Mm.
And then she started having seizures with no warning. No high temperature, no warning, no infection. We may be at Walmart and she's seizing. Um, the funny
That's
thing
scary.
was, she would start acting a little different. She didn't have the grand mal where she would just fall out. She would do, they called it a catatonic stare, where she would just look up like this. And you're saying, Kendall, are you okay? And she would say, I'm sick. She's still talking to you. She's still talking to you. And I would say, she just always would say, I'm sick. And I would say, are you having a seizure? She didn't know the proper terms at that time. Are you having a seizure? And she would say, yes. And they taught me to just, lie her down on her side and just talk to her. You
How
can't
old was
stop
she
a
at the time?
seizure. She was about 6 when her seizure pattern changed.
Wow.
Mhm.
So she's been on several different medications over the years to try to not
Suppress
control
the
it, but
seizures.
manage
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
seizures. So it's much better today. The medication she's on now has streamlined her seizure activity.
Okay.
That's
She hasn't
awesome.
had a seizure in a while, but she's on some heavy medication.
Oh, wow.
So she's on some
So
heavy
you haven't
medication.
identified anything, or the doctors haven't identified anything that would trigger the seizures. I know you said when she was younger it would be the fevers, but as she's gotten older, they just can't pinpoint what could trigger the seizures.
So all of the diagnoses and labeled disabilities that Kendall has been, labeled to have or diagnosed with are attributed to her being born at 20 weeks. And to
Okay.
just go back a little bit, um, before her birth, I was placed in the hospital at 16 weeks, um, because Kendall had a leak in her sac. They were incubating in two different sacs, praise God. My son was in one and Kendall was in another one. And her amniotic fluid was leaking out. I wasn't even aware of it. So at 16 weeks, they put me in the hospital because I had dilated 3 centimeters and she was threatening to come. And they placed me in what was called a Trendelenburg position, um, where you have to be elevated at a certain angle. I don't know what the appropriate level
Okay.
was, but I knew my
I know what you're talking
head
about.
could not be elevated higher than my midsection.
Your
No
stomach.
pressure
Yeah.
could be applied to,
Wow.
for the baby to come out earlier than anticipated. Um, so they put me in the hospital at 16 weeks, and Kendall made it until 20 weeks.
Mm.
After Kendall came, they put me back in the room that I was in, and they gave me steroids in my side because my son was still in there to help him develop a little more. And then he was born 8 days later. He came with none of the issues that Kendall had. A lot of
Mm.
her issues stemmed from uh, loss of oxygen because I had a leak in my
Wow.
sac.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of it came from that, her just being born so early.
Yeah.
Um, she was in the hospital for 3.5 months, and my son was in the hospital for 4 months.
Wow.
Kendall beat him home. Um, yeah, they went through some pretty tough things. There's some tough cookies. There's some
Well,
some
did
tough
they
cookies.
even say why your fluid was leaking? Did they give any indication?
Never.
Nobody. Oh, wow.
They never gave
And you,
me an indication. They told me I was considered a high risk pregnancy, and I was 26 years old. 2 years prior to that, I had a miscarriage at 20 weeks.
Mm.
So 2 years later, God gave me an angel at 20 weeks.
That's right. That's
It
right.
really is a miracle. It's it's
that's
it's a
a
Mm.
miracle.
miracle.
I've never
It
heard of
is.
that.
I'm just touching the
Delivering.
surface. It really
I'm
is a
sure
miracle.
it's a lot to that.
It
Yeah.
really
Wow, I
is.
had twins, and I just can't imagine. I went my whole 9 months, but I can't imagine, all that you went through, knowing that you had two babies in there, and that your son was, he's healthy, and there was no issues with him. That is
Well, there were some
amazing.
issues,
I
but
don't think I've
nothing
ever
like
heard of them
hers.
delivering. Yeah, wow,
Yeah, he
wow.
he
And I
had
know
he
about
had a
that
he had a
baby
couple of
laying
issues, but
down.
not like hers. He had some pretty
Okay.
serious issues. They called it bradycardic episodes where he would forget to breathe.
Oh,
So he
Wow.
actually went to a different hospital at 3.5 months. They took him to the hospital for sick children. He was in there for about 2.5 weeks.
okay.
Um, and he came home on medication and came home on that apnea monitor for his first year.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Wow. So
His
Claudette,
first year.
Go ahead. Hearing you talk about your babies, and then you're trying to, you deliver one and you still have one that's yet to be delivered. And even when the babies are delivered and they're still hospitalized for months, because you were 26,
Mm-hmm.
what what was happening with you? How were you feeling?
Well, I was feeling an out of body experience. And then I had a 5-year old at home.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
My
wow.
oldest daughter is 5.5 years older than the twins. So it was a lot. It was a lot going on. But praise God, I had a support system
Awesome.
um, in
That's
place.
needed.
I had
That's
a
needed.
support system, and my focus was it allowed me to, try to pour my focus into keeping these babies alive,
Yes.
and that's where I went. Now my faith was it plummeted. I'm
Of
being
course.
honest.
Sure.
I'm
That's
being
right.
honest. My
That's
faith
real.
plummeted. I had my best girlfriend call me in the hospital. I didn't even name Kendall until day number 3. I would
Wow.
not
That's
go see
real.
her. I would not go. They wanted to wheel me down to see. I did not see her until day number 3 because the doctors kept telling me, oh, she's probably not going to make it through the
Oh,
night.
wow.
Um, they would come in
Wow.
there every day telling me, well,
Mm.
you don't have to keep the other one in. You can make a choice to just, you know, not
Oh,
have it.
wow.
Oh, yeah. They leave it up to you. So I was really down in the dumps. Every day they came upstairs and gave me no hope. The baby is, not doing well. She's probably not going to make it.
Mm,
And I
mm,
said, I
mm.
don't want to give her a name. I didn't feel like I could give her a name. I'm just
Yeah.
being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Understandable.
And my girlfriend Sandra called up to the hospital, and she basically whipped me. She said, "What is wrong with you? You know the word. I don't care what the doctor is saying. What is wrong? You don't talk like this. Not you. You're the person that cheers everyone up. You're the
Hey,
person that has more
we
hope
all
and
have
faith."
our Allen experience. Our
That was
out of
mine.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm totally with you. I got the exact same testimony that you had with Morgan. And it's
What?
yeah, it's I mean, the thing is it's a hard thing. I mean, and at the time my sister was pregnant with twins. It was so hard for me because you always envision having a daughter. I had my daughter, and when I just say I was saved to the bone. But when I tell you, I cried every day nonstop, and I think I did that maybe for the first year or two. It's not that I
Yes.
didn't trust God, but
Yes.
this is not what I envisioned. This is not
It's
what I
not.
envisioned. And people are afraid to say this stuff.
That's
They're
right.
afraid, but it's not. And I had to, like they say, he has to take you through things in order for you to get to a place where you really have a relationship with him.
Yes.
You can't
Mm,
have a relationship, you can't have a testimony if
that's it.
you don't go through those things.
That's
But
That's
right.
I
it.
wanted to say, Lord, let this cross past me. I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't. So what
I
you're
sort of was
feeling,
in that same space as you,
yeah.
Paula. I just, you know, I've gone through a lot in my life, a lot. But that experience, I really, really did open my heart up to God.
Yeah.
Um, I was questioning him. Why do I
Yeah.
have to go through this?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for any of this. Why
Mhm.
me? And
Mm-hmm.
I was basically told it's not about you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
You have to come up out of yourself. It's
Yeah.
This walk is not about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and that it's been that way the last 26 years. It's,
And
you
sometimes it's
know,
rolling hills. You get to a place where you be like, okay, I got this thing. And then before you know it, you're going downhill again.
You're on
And then
that
you be
roller
like,
coaster.
yeah, it's because like we always say on the show, these kids go through various stages.
Yes.
mm-hmm,
May
Yeah.
just get a hold of this stage, and before you know, here comes something else that throws you. You be like, wait a
that's
minute,
right.
I just got over this. And
Yeah.
here they're in a totally different phase, and I'm not ready. Let me catch my breath. So
Mm,
yeah, I mean,
But I thank God that you, Claudette and Paula, you guys, you have that story for such a time as this so that you can
mhm.
help others maybe cut a corner, maybe to not have to go through as much as you guys went through. Maybe you can give resources and help. So God doesn't take us through
I'm lying.
these trials and life challenges for nothing. There's always a reason. We can never see it while we're in it. But when we
Mm-hmm.
come out and we're on the other side and we can look back and the sun
That's
is
right.
shining,
Mm-mm-mm.
that cloud is gone, we're able to manage life struggles and challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a good routine without special needs babies. God, I'm just amazed at the story. Like he has taken you through all of that, Claudette, for this moment today. Well, this is one of
Mm-hmm.
the moments for
That's
One of
That's
the
right.
today.
right.
moments,
It's
yes.
That's
one of
right.
the
It's one of the
Yeah.
moments. I want to hear more about Kendall though. What's
I
going
do too.
on?
I'm excited.
Yes,
I'm sitting on
because
the edge of
Kendall is
my seat.
26, and
Kendall.
you got stuff to
Kendall
tell
is
us.
26. Like I said, it's it's a book, and it's
Hmm.
still she's still writing her chapters.
That's right.
She's
That's right.
still,
Absolutely.
so we're just rewinding her story back to the earlier pages. Okay, so now we've talked about she has seizure disorder. I want to go back a little bit and talk about even when the seizures kicked in. She started school at 3, but the
Okay.
seizures started at 1. um so praise God, my sister watched my kids. My
Oh
youngest
wow.
sister babysat my kids so that my husband and I can still work.
That's a
We're
blessing.
talking about the village.
Yes.
That's a blessing.
We are talking about the village. I could not have done. I could not. You can't attribute this to me. It's not. This is a. It's a faith walk, and it's a village that
Yes,
helped to get to where we are
I
now.
agree.
It
You
really
know, for
is.
you to even have peace of mind to go to work and know that
That's
your
right.
daughter was in the care of someone who loved her just as much as you did. That's a
That's
blessing
right.
within itself.
I could not have worked. I
Mm-mm.
already know. Like I would have been home
Yeah.
if my sister could not have watched my kids. I would have been an at home mom.
Hmm.
I
Because
would
let's
have.
keep this real and let's just stop right here and tell people, as some people may know, even in this day and time, it's not easy to find
No,
childcare for special needs individuals.
no, it's
They'll
Not
not.
at
tell
all.
you they'll take your child and they'll take that money and I've come into a center where Morgan was sitting in a corner strapped to a chair. So yeah, so they will tell you, oh, we'll take them. Some will just dance around and but it's not easy to find childcare.
No.
It's not. And I
Mm-mm.
went through something not as not that Kendall was strapped to a chair, but she was in the kitchen area of the daycare center, and they were outside. I will never forget it. So I took them. They had been at this center maybe 2 weeks. That was their last day. That was their. I picked her up and walked towards the back. This was a big center, um, not a small center. Walked to the back, and they didn't even know I was in the facility. How do you not know where my child is?
Woo, that's scary. Woo.
It's near the
Mm,
Terrible.
mm,
stove.
mm,
The stove wasn't on, but what are you doing outside and she's in here?
Right.
mm. Why is she unaccounted for? Nobody even said, where's
Unattended.
Kendall?
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all.
Mm.
And then we found an in-home daycare provider. She was amazing. She was a minister. She was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I found another. We moved back here. We moved out of state and we moved back here. And
Where is here?
oh, I'm in the DMV. I'm in Maryland.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
in the DMV area. And I met this lady, and she was amazing. She took Kendall in, and Kendall was way older than the other kids.
Mhm.
She was way older than the other kids, but she fell in love with Kendall's heart. Kendall fell in love with their whole family.
Oh,
Kendall, you don't
Wow.
adopt Kendall, she adopts you.
that's
Yeah.
Oh,
how it works. That's
She
how it
she
works.
claims everybody.
I love it.
But
I love
I've
it.
been blessed to have some caretakers who embrace her and all of her disabilities and bring her into the fold and allow her to be herself
Yes.
and to blend in with all of the other children. You know what I mean? Because that's the way we raised her. If she
Okay.
wants to climb a tree, she's going to climb a tree because she's very stubborn. She knows what she wants to do and she's going to try it.
Is she
So
verbal
you
now?
may have to
Verbal?
assist her. Oh, she's verbal.
She's verbal.
Okay.
Okay.
She's overly verbal.
From one extreme to the next. Huh?
Now, when she was very young, she didn't talk a lot. It took her a long time to really talk.
Okay.
It took her a long time to do a lot of things.
She was
But once
delayed in a
she,
lot of ways,
oh,
right?
she was delayed in a lot of areas. She
Okay.
really was. She was delayed in a lot of areas. Um, and one of the things that stands out for me, uh, and still to this day, most people that encounters Kendall, they don't know what her disability is.
Mm.
I've had several people say, "Can I ask you what her disability is?"
Mm.
Because she talks to you, she would get in your face. Of course, she doesn't know distance. You know,
Yeah.
she gets right up in your face. She would ask all of your business. Where's your dog? Where's your husband? You don't have any of that. Where do you live? Can I go to your house?
Oh.
So they love her, but they really don't. Most people don't understand or have knowledge of what exactly is her
Mm.
disability. Because she has some type of disability, but what is it?
Mm-hmm.
So
So
now
what
her
makes
CP is more pronounced. You can sort of see
Mm-hmm.
the older she gets now, the way
okay.
she mobilizes,
Okay.
and her limitations now. But most of the time, most people, they would say, well, is she autistic? What, they could not put a finger on it. Now you can clearly see the CP. You
Okay.
can
And
you can clearly
what was
identify it.
CP again? What was CP again?
Cerebral
So,
palsy.
oh, okay. Okay.
Cerebral palsy, cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let me move on because I
Morgan
know
has
we
that
don't have a
too.
lot of time. Morgan has CP?
Hmm.
I didn't know she had CP.
Hmm.
I didn't know
She
that.
does. She wears AFOs. She has surgery on her feet. Yeah. So on her tendons. Yeah,
Yes,
she does.
Kendall had
Yeah.
her whole leg done. Um,
Oh.
and she wore AFO braces until she had her leg done. She had her leg extension.
Hmm.
They did her toe, her ankle, her foot. She has plates everywhere in her
Oh
legs. Her
wow.
knee. Yeah, they did an extension. And she was trying to think, was she 20? Was it 6 years ago? She's almost
Wow.
27. I think it was, see, I'm losing time. I think she was 20. I'm
Wow.
losing
Wow.
I'm losing time again.
Did that help
Um,
her, Claudette? Did that help her?
it did not help her mobility,
Mm.
but
Mm.
we went into it knowing what the chances were, if it
Mhm.
would help her or not. They could
Okay.
not give us 100% guarantee. Her gait was so crouched.
Mm.
She was in chronic pain all the time.
Mhm.
Um, it changed her mobility even more to me, if you ask me. It changed her mobility even more. But her gait is nowhere near what it was.
Okay.
And for some of
She
us
can
who don't know what gait is, what is gait?
her gait is like the crouching. If you've ever seen anybody with cerebral palsy, somebody that walks with a it's their stance, if you will.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's almost
Okay.
like
Um,
posture.
the posture. Thank you.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
But
Hmm.
not so much as because the
It's
posture
the
can
pattern
be.
of how you walk. I'm looking it up. It's the
Yeah,
pattern
Thank
of
that's
how
what I
you.
you
was gonna
walk.
say.
She
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
she had what was known as a crouched gait for many years,
mhm.
many years, and it just deteriorated with time.
Okay,
to
was it that
where
her knees were kind of
buckled.
inward and buckled?
Hmm.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay.
And she was more distended on one side than the other.
Oh
But
wow.
because this one crouched so bad poorly, it forced the other one to start
Mm.
crouching just for her to be
Oh
able to
wow.
balance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we waited. I kept saying no to the surgery. No, 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 until even for her to get up and take a couple of steps, she would get on the floor and cry. She was
Oh
in
my
Wow.
severe pain.
goodness.
Her mobility was almost depleted. It was, yeah. So
And this
when you
was
say
around
did
when
the
she was
surgery
20?
help, I think it helped. It didn't help her. It helped with the crouching where she was able to stabilize herself again, which
Okay.
she still can. She can, but that was because of the surgery. Do you see what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is she in
Wow.
pain? Do you think she's in pain like before?
Not like before, but CP to me, you're always in discomfort, some form of every day. She's in
Mhm.
some form of discomfort. She doesn't really complain about extensive pain. Her pain level is different than what
Yeah.
we know,
I was
what we
about
know
to say
pain to
that.
Yeah.
be. It's
Yeah. They
different.
almost get used to the pain,
Yeah.
which is
It's
always
different.
sometimes it's not good because they sometimes when they react, they're in such pain that it's at a 10 level, but they have a high tolerance for
Hers
pain.
is probably, yeah, if she's complaining something hurts, it's at a 15, believe me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably at a 15. Like she's endured it until she just, you know,
Wow.
taps
Hmm.
out. But
And for
yeah,
people that don't know what CP is, that's when you have poor muscle tone.
yes,
Yeah. So a
that's
lot
what
of the
so
times,
well, it's a combination. CP affects the brain,
Yeah.
right?
mhm,
And it affects your muscles.
your skeletal.
Um,
Yeah.
so it affects two different parts of your body, which creates other issues,
Hmm.
That's what it
Yes.
does. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It creates other issues. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's no cure for it. There are different things you can do to um, try to uh, keep the person as mobile as you can or as
Yeah.
comfortable as you can with therapy.
Yes.
Even if they don't have mobility, therapy is still good to try to loosen up some of those tight they have muscle spasms. It's a combination. And what a lot of people, what I really didn't have a clear understanding of until I had a child that was diagnosed with CP, is it's sort of a spectrum like autism.
It is. It really
It's a
Hmm.
is.
it's a spectrum.
Yeah. It goes from
It's
one
a
extreme to
range.
the, yeah,
It's a
you're right.
range.
That's a
So
great
Kendall
point,
was
Claudette.
diagnosed with mild CP at birth.
Yes.
By the
Mm.
time she was 1, they said moderate because she couldn't walk. She could not walk until they braced her. She was a year and a half when she got braces, the AFO braces. And my baby just ran. We all just cried. They put those braces on her, and she just, because she would try to walk and get down, try to stand up. Every step she tried to take, she couldn't stand. They
Mm.
put those braces on her. It was over then. She just took off.
It's like Forrest Gump. I'm not comparing her to Forrest Gump, but like people with those
Yes.
braces, I used to have to wear the braces when I was younger because when I was born, my feet would turn completely in. Because I'm a twin also.
Oh, I
I don't know if
know.
you remember that. Yeah.
I do.
I'm a twin. And so my feet would turn completely in. I didn't have a lot of room in my mom's sack. So when I came out, they had to put braces on my feet. And I had like the ones like Forrest Gump. And my feet became straight. They had them on a board. And each week
Oh,
my mom said they kept turning the board more and more until my feet just came out.
I've heard about
So
that back in the
yeah,
day.
so that's how
Yeah,
they used to do it back in the day, you
I've heard.
know.
Yeah, I've heard about that. You had to
Yeah.
sleep with them on.
Yeah, and my mom said it was funny because she said me and my brother was in the crib together. She said, and no matter how much I banged on that crib with them shoes, I never hit him.
Oh my
Yeah, she said I
goodness.
never hit him. Yeah, but I was born with my feet turned completely in. But in those, I'm serious, those AFOs are so. I look at Morgan's, and sometimes I used to have to take them back because they keep rubbing the side of her feet.
Oh,
It's a process, and then they grow out of it. Because even
yes.
Morgan had that surgery to lengthen her tendons, but when she did before the surgery, like you, I didn't know how extensive that surgery was. They were doing Botox shots, and they would cast her, and it will
Oh,
work. It will work, but soon as she go through a growth spur,
Kendall went through that, the Botox injections.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
What's the
and they
So
put
did
you
Botox
in a
that help
cast.
injection for?
Kendall?
Mm,
Yeah, it helps the muscles. It helps, like they have people get it
to
in their
relax,
face
yeah,
and it lifts, yeah, it
to relax
relaxes
the
the muscle.
muscle
So it does work. They take them right
for a
in.
short amount of time, though.
It's like,
Six
yeah.
months
Once
tops.
they go through a growth spur and
Yeah.
they grow again, you right face right back with the same situation. They
Wow.
decided to do Morgan surgery once she started her menstrual cycle,
Mm-hmm.
because at that point, her cycle, most people don't know this, but most women stop growing. Once you have your menstrual
Yes.
cycle, you stop growing. So that's
Yes.
when they were like, hey, listen, we've exhausted, the Botox and
Every
the
option.
casting and the
Mm-hmm.
series of casting. Crystal used to see her with the cast on, Bunny. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you did, but it will work. It was great. And Morgan walked on her tippy toes.
On the
So she used to
toes.
have bad calluses on her feet.
Oh,
Now, once she had the surgery, she's completely flat.
flat.
That's good.
Flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how Kendall,
Because,
after the Botox, she would be, it amazed me. She
yeah.
would be flat.
Yeah.
And 6 months, it would creep back up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just, she had several Botox injections. It was a
Yeah.
lot. It was
Yeah.
This is
definitely a
Wow.
lot.
amazing to hear
That
the
was a lot.
story, and we can go on and on. I'm sure it's so much to say, but I definitely want to hear what is the 26-year-old Kendall like?
Kendall is um so let me say this. Let me say two more things. The version of Kendall that I have depicted, what was the young version of Kendall up until 16.
Mm-hmm.
Up until 16, we were living in North Carolina. We lived in North Carolina for 7 years. We moved back here, so Kendall's in high school. 3 weeks before we moved back here, both of her retinas detached. So
Oh
she's
God.
100% blind now.
Oh,
What?
really?
The retinopathy. Both of her retinas detached. Um, she had her first surgery there, and then we moved here. They connected us with a surgeon here. She's had a ton of surgeries over the years. She's had a ton of surgeries. She had 40% vision still in one eye when we moved here, but the retina came down in strips. So
Oh
she had poor visibility. It was they explained it like she was looking through Vaseline, looking through a bottle with Vaseline on the end of it. So
Oh.
she could see if she angled her head just the right way, right?
Mm.
In one eye and completely blind in the next. Every
Wow.
6 months, they went in to try to save this other eye. But whenever they would go in, they said more of the strips were coming down
Oh
until
my.
we went through that for like 2 years until it was just 100% no visibility. So
Oh.
then her losing her vision created issues with her mentally.
Mm.
Mm.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah.
yeah, she went through a bad depression.
Oh.
We went through so many different things. It's a family thing. It's not when somebody has diagnoses of um, certain diagnoses, right? Uh, Disabilities, depending on what the disability is. Not, I don't even want to say depending on what the disability is. It's a family thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Definitely it affects the
caretaker,
whole
the
family.
siblings, it affects
The
everybody that is
marriage, that's
involved with it.
question that we definitely want to ask about, like, how did it affect your marriage? I mean, because it seemed like you guys have endured, but it's like it takes a toll on
It
everything.
takes a
People just,
toll on the
yeah,
siblings who are
yeah,
forced to
Yes.
care for them.
yeah.
Mm.
Um, we forced our kids to care for them.
Mhm.
We did. That's the village.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
It
It
got to be a
changes
part of the
everybody's
village.
life because, and
Mhm.
another thing is you don't trust your loved one with just anybody.
That's
That's
right.
right.
You
That's right.
you just don't. The
You
trust
can't.
just goes out the window. And in my mind, nobody's going to care for my child the way that our little nucleus would care for her.
That's right.
Right.
Um, but at the end of the day, we don't live on an island alone. So we had to make some tough decisions. We really did. It's and praise God, we're on this side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we've been through a lot. All of us has. All of us
How
have
did she
gone
make
through
it through
a
that
lot.
stage of depression when she lost her eyesight?
Oh,
How did you
that's
get her through
years.
that?
Oh,
Oh
do
man.
you really want?
Because you said she was in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm.
that sounds like 2 years. That sounds like she's exiting high school,
Mm-mm.
transitioning.
Because you can stay in high school until
Till you
21.
Oh yeah,
21.
21. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
she okay.
So we moved back here. She was 10th grade, but don't forget Kendall didn't do grade levels like my son and my other daughter did.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because she was in a contained classroom setting,
Okay.
um, in the regular public school system.
Mm-hmm.
But they call it special ed. They call it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
contained. It's called something different in every state, is what I've
Yeah.
learned.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And the services are different in
Mhm.
each state. The
Yeah.
services are
Everything is
different.
different. Yeah, everything is
Right.
different
Ooh,
when you go from state to state. When you cross in the DMV, when you cross DC to Maryland, it's different. From
It's
Maryland to
it
different.
Virginia,
is
it's different.
very
It's
the
So
yeah.
services.
did you see the difference coming from North Carolina to Maryland? Did you think North Carolina had better resources, or do you feel like
Maryland.
Maryland? Okay.
When I had
Mhm.
the kids, I was in DC,
Okay.
right? For their first year of life, we lived in DC. Then we moved to PG County. And in the school system, they knock on your door and offer you and tell you what services your child would benefit from.
Okay.
All of that changes once they reach a certain age. Then you have to do a little bit more of the advocating for them,
Mhm.
certainly at the high school level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things definitely shifted at the high school level, but elementary level, middle school level, she got all of her services. And the PE teacher would collaborate with her physical therapist outside of school.
That was
That's
Her
good.
vision
awesome.
specialist would collaborate with the vision specialist in the school. I mean, it was wonderful until it was not.
That's a blessing. That's
Did
Until I
the
awesome.
had to
school?
like go to the school board. I had to email everybody that I could find in the state of Maryland. Like, you do a lot of advocating. It's a lot of the unknown, um, that makes you feel like things become impossible, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I want to caution everybody. I want to not caution. I want to let everybody know, um, you're not alone. You are
That's
not
Yeah.
alone. It
Right.
feels like, it may feel like, I'm just telling my testimony.
mm-hmm.
It may feel like sometimes you're the only one going through, um, some of the tough times of getting the services that your loved one needs. In this
Yeah.
case, it's my daughter. It can be your grandmother,
Mhm.
it can be your auntie, it can be your uncle.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be a child. There are resources out there. It's just tapping into other people to find the resources that would benefit your loved one.
That's
For
right.
me, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know
Mhm.
where to go. I
Yeah.
didn't know who to call. When the school stopped acting like they didn't care, when they stopped being, a resource for me, when she lost her vision, that's when everything changed, because
Yeah.
she created these behaviors popped up, right?
Mm.
So Claudette, did the school provide any resources for any visual, what do you call braille? Did they make any of those type of accommodations? Did they move her to a different classroom? What was provided as far as Braille, her materials, so that she can still stay in school?
That's the part. She winded up not staying in school because they could no longer provide adequate resources to teach her.
What?
They did try some things that no longer worked because the behaviors manifested,
Mm-hmm.
right? When she completely lost her vision, the regular school system did not know what to do with her. So she was home a lot. I had to fight the school board. I had to threaten to sue. I did a lot of stuff until they found a school suitable for her to go to, which was
Yeah.
an hour and a half from my house.
That's
Did they even
awesome.
Baltimore.
think about bringing somebody in the house?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like other options.
No.
How do you just
Mm-mm.
say, okay, we're gonna send her home, and because there's nothing else we can do? That's ludicrous.
That's not what they said. They skirted around, they danced around. She may have went to school, but in an hour they were calling us to come pick her up. Or they would start saying, oh, her one-on-one is not here today. And of course there was nobody else that could, um, how can I say this? There was nobody else that could handle her, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the school. And you don't just want anybody handling
That's
your
true.
child anyway. Um, but yeah, she was out of school for a while before they found a school that could accommodate all of her needs, which was in Baltimore.
So what were these behaviors that they felt that, Miss Roberts, you need to come get your child?
Initially, it was injurious behaviors. She
Okay.
was hitting herself,
Mm-hmm.
banging herself against the wall, banging her head against the wall, saying she wants to cut her legs off. They don't move right. Saying she's going to do something to somebody else,
Mm.
And this
right?
is high school, right? She was in, what grade was she in at this time?
They considered it 10th grade.
Okay.
10. Okay.
So now she's about 17, I think, about 17.
My
How was
heart
she
just
at home? How was her behavior at home?
It changed. It what they were telling us they saw, we saw none of it at
Okay.
home
I feel the same way about my grandson.
until we did.
Okay.
Wow.
Until she checked out. She really she did.
oh,
So I kept taking her to the pediatrician. They said it was seizures. It was not seizures. I started taking her to Children's Hospital. They would send us back home. Everybody's putting it on seizures. They didn't know what this behavior was. So she was missing days from school. I finally got a job. I got a part-time job, and uh, they gave us she qualified for the waiver program at 17. You're not supposed to get that until 18.
Mm.
So under the waiver program, we qualified for DDA services,
What is that?
developmental disability administration for
Okay.
people with disabilities, where you can get managed care.
Okay.
And then she qualified for the RIM
yeah.
program, which is called Rare and Expensive Medical Services,
Okay.
which is a component operated under
Um,
DDA,
Wow.
where you can get extensive case management.
Okay.
So this is when the light bulb, she was almost 18 at this point. And that lady came in and she helped me tremendously. Oh,
oh my goodness.
she helped me tremendously. I still had a lot of battles.
Mm-hmm.
She said, so after my third visit of taking her to the ER and them sending us back home, and she's still doing these behaviors,
Mm,
we had to watch her around the clock. Me,
oh
my
my
husband,
goodness.
her brother, and my oldest daughter. We're taking shifts. We're taking shifts.
Do you think so? At that point, she was somewhat suicidal. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
That
goodness.
and
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
it was really bad. It was bad. It was bad.
And all
It
of
was
this stemmed from her losing her
Her
sight.
losing her
Oh
yes.
eyesight.
my goodness.
It
That's
stemmed from
so,
that. She
oh my
she was no
gosh.
longer the same person. That's why I said it's a whole different side.
I mean, and none of
Um,
us know, I mean, none of us know how we would be, but then coupled with all the other things that she was dealing with, my heart just breaks. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
I'm
My
up here
heart
that's
just
right.
thinking
breaks.
like the
You feel
pediatrician, no one's like suggesting maybe a psychologist or anything because this sounds like a traumatic experience. She
that's what
already
it
has
Yeah.
was.
a lot of
Yeah.
issues in her body that she deals with, and now she's lost something that is very important. And because they're
Yes.
making it's don't make it seem like she had these behaviors before.
No,
So
they
that's
came
what
out
I'm
of the
thinking.
sky.
No one
Oh my
recommended
goodness.
psychologist or anything?
Hmm.
They did? Okay.
The lady who came into my life, Miss
Come
Alta
on.
Grace,
Oh man.
after my third visit to the hospital, and I'm sitting on that couch crying, saying,
Oh,
I
I was
don't
just
know
about
what
to ask
to do.
Claudette, how did you deal with
Yes.
this? Oh,
I
girl,
said, I
I'm
don't know what to
crying
do.
for you right now because that's a hard pill to swallow. Oh my, when you
And no
feel
one could explain
helpless.
what is it.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
What is this? And that lady, she
Oh my
hugged me.
goodness.
She said, you're not going to like this. Take her back to Children's and don't leave until they put her in the psych ward.
Wow.
So, Claudia, we got a few
Oh my
minutes, and
goodness.
this is so,
Oh
Oh
God,
my
let's
goodness.
get it.
I know. I'm just
I'm
sitting on
like,
the edge.
Hmm.
right.
I just
Y'all see how
want to
close. Y'all see how close I've been to the screen. Like, wait a minute, wait. I'm on the edge of my seat and close into the screen.
Oh
My
my
goodness.
goodness.
So, Claudia, we got a few minutes. What happened after that? And then after
Yes.
you tell us really quickly, like what happened with that, and then where is she at today? And then to maybe give another
Bunny.
parent that's encouraged, give them something. Come on, Claudette, real quick,
We
real
gotta have a
quick.
part two on this. We gotta have a
Right.
part
I
two.
know it's so
And
much.
she didn't want to be on the show, guys. I had to track her down.
I know I don't like to talk in front of people, but this is it's four of you I'm looking at, so
Okay,
this
we
is fine.
family, we
This is
family.
Yes.
intimate. This is
Oh
intimate.
my
So
goodness.
all of that to
Courtney
say,
said
we
part
did
two,
2 weeks
please.
in the psych ward. You heard what I said.
Mhm.
Hmm
You too?
Didn't leave. They tried to not let me go back there. We did it. She got the services that she needed in there, and then outside services. They referred us to outside services, which are still currently going on. They put it under a umbrella of mood disorder, which encompasses a lot of different things. They explained that all of the trauma from losing the eyesight, and
Oh,
then the legs, all of the things she's
oh
gone
my
through, it
goodness.
she really did lose her mind. Like, it's
Wow.
not a joke. That's why I don't play,
Right,
with
right,
stuff like that when people say
right.
that. So now, stabilized but never the same. Not
How
Nothing
can
like they
you
were
be?
long ago. No, it's different. It's different.
Okay. Hey guys, I don't want you to go any further because everybody is saying we need part two,
We
three,
need
four,
part
five.
two.
No, I definitely know. I
Come
want
on,
us to stop.
Claudette.
I know Bunny, you want to know where she is right
I
Look,
now.
look,
know.
I'm
She's
right
doing great.
here.
She's doing great
Okay,
today.
but I
She's doing
want
great.
us
Oh,
to
thank you,
have,
Jesus. She's doing
She's
yes,
great
doing
I
great.
today.
want us
We
to
all
have
are.
a part two. And I
Okay.
want us to pick right up from when she went to the mental institute, how they came out, how they helped her. Y'all, everybody got to remember where we stopped because this
Oh,
is
we want to
Listen,
good.
know.
listen,
I'm sitting on the
We
listen.
edge
gonna
of my
run
We
this
need
seat.
a
back.
we need a date
Yes.
next. We need a date next week. We need another on Thursday next week.
We'll
Oh my goodness.
we'll see if we can make that happen. But I want to end on a good note. So if we do a part two, I'll bring her in, because
No,
let me
if
just say, she
if
leaves
Yes.
a
we got
stamp on
to.
everybody's heart.
Oh my
Everybody
goodness.
loves my Kendi Wendy. Everybody loves. And let me
Oh.
just say this. I always say she's an awesome wonder. She's an awesome one. And she's the strongest female that I know to date. She's strong.
Absolutely.
She's the
Oh,
strongest one
Yes.
I've
So are
ever seen.
you. So are you.
I'm okay.
So
I'm
are
all right.
no, you're
No,
not.
I
I'm
No, you're
always,
okay.
not.
mm-mm.
Uh-uh. So are you.
That's
Claudette, I
right.
have
So are
never been
you.
this close. I have never been this close to the screen before in any of these
Back
podcasts. I'm
up,
like
bunny.
this. I'm like,
Claudette,
if I can sit next
Kendall,
to you.
look, Claudette, Kendall is who she is because
Yes.
of you.
Yes.
I know, and your village, but
Yeah,
I
the
know a
village.
mama's heart. So
Yes.
if
Yes.
she's strong, come on, because you showing us your strength through your vulnerability and your
Yes.
Oh my
transparency today.
It
goodness.
well, if I can help somebody along the way, because I did
Absolutely.
reach out and I had people help me along the way. So if I can help somebody, that's
Yeah,
what I'm here to do. I'm a
me too.
vessel. I told
Oh
you, the
my
Lord told me
gosh.
in the hospital, it's not about you. And I get that.
Man.
I get it. It's this journey is not about me. So that's it.
All
If
right,
I can
guys, if we're
have it
gonna
flow
stop.
through, that's what I do.
Wow.
Wow. Okay,
Yes.
we got okay, Claudette. I'm already contacting. I need when we get off of this, you need to send me another date in May, guys. We have the calendar filled up, but we
Mm.
have to have Claudette on
We
here
do.
to
We'll
talk
do a part
about
two.
the grown up Kendall because we want to
Yes.
Yes.
hear this. We want to
We'll go
hear
into that.
when she came.
Yes.
Because when I tell you this is gonna be on my mind the rest of the night, I ain't gonna lie. I
Oh
was almost in
Jesus.
tears.
That's why you
I
talking
was,
about
oh
waiting till
no.
May.
I mean,
Oh
but
We
you
got
Lord.
to
know we
move
got
some
the
things
calendar.
around.
We got the calendar
We
filled
got to move
up.
some things
Good
around.
Lord. Yes, we do. Okay. Well, we're gonna work
We'll
on
bring it
that.
back. All right.
But
Yes.
Thank you guys
Claudette,
for
we have
having me.
thank
Thank you
you
for
for
coming,
sharing your
Claudette.
story. Oh my
Thank you.
goodness.
Yes.
Oh my
And
I
Claudette,
just
go
don't
back
know.
and look at the comments. They all are loving you in the comments.
Yes.
Oh my
I can't
goodness.
see anything.
That's all right. You'll go back and read them.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
go back.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much again, Claudette. Guys, part two is coming. We promise because we're on the edge of our we learning just like you all are learning at the same time. So this ain't nothing
I
she
know.
talked
Yeah.
about behind the closed doors.
No.
But Claudette, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be on advocacy. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Bunny. Part two is coming. We love you. Thank you for sharing your story.
I
This
love you
was so
guys too.
heartfelt. Oh
Thank
my
Thank you,
goodness.
you. All
Claudette.
right.
Everybody enjoy your
Much love to
weekend.
you and
Claudette, go look
Kendall
at some
and
of them
your
comments.
family.
Yes.
Thank you. Good
Until
night.
we meet again.
Yes.
All
Good
right.
night.
Bye.